Hello, this is Gail from Burger Sewing and Vacuum in Manassas, Virginia, and welcome to another one of our foot fetish classes. Today I'm going to talk about the open-toed foot, and this is great if you need visibility. And Baby Lock actually has 3 different open-toed feet. They have their metal, they have their plastic, and then they have their candle wicking foot, and I'm going to be talking about all 3 of them today. Now the first one with the metal one, you see it has markings so you can see where the needle is, and you can see the far left, far right, and the center position. If we flip it over, we can see that it just has skids on the side, so that's really the only place that it is making contact with those feed dogs, and then it has a channel cut out for all your fancy stitches. And this is great. I use these a lot, and it also is nice and flat, so it works well for any of the stitches with lateral movement. The clear plastic one has a marking for the center position. It's about the same size as the metal one, and if we flip this one over, you can see it does have a channel. It's kind of hard to see, but it has a channel cut out. But one thing along its little skids is it actually has grooves cut out. So this foot might work okay for some of the side to side, but it is really, I usually use it just for those stitches that have the forward and backward movement on them, but it should work side to side. The other thing too that you have to know about is that the metal foot is heavier than a plastic foot. So this one is going to just sit heavier on the fabric. So if you're using the plastic one, you might need to adjust the pressure down on the fabric, but I always run a sample to see which foot is going to work better in each application. Then we have our candle wicking foot, and if you look at this foot is bigger. Let me put the other metal one close to it. You can see it is wider, it is longer, it is just a bigger foot. It does have some markings where the needle is and the center position. They're out of metal, so sometimes I use a Sharpie and mark them so I can see them a little bit better. You'll notice that it has a big channel. It's a deeper channel, and it has its skids, so it can also do lateral movement as well as front to back. Now the candle wicking foot is for a candle wicking stitch. So if you don't know what a candle wicking stitch is, I will tell you. Let me move these over. I just put them on that fabric so you could see that clear foot a little bit better. A candle wicking stitch is a stitch that will come forward, then kind of go back and forward and back and go at these different angles and stitch. So right here in the center is a lot of thread. So it gets built up pretty high, and this one, because of its really deep channel, will slide right over all that thread. This also works really well. Say I wanted to do some crazy quilting and I wanted to use heavier thread, say a 12-way thread or a 20-way thread. I also would like to use this foot because of the deeper channel. It can go over the thickness of that heavier thread. So it works really well for that. So where else do I use my open-toed feet? Anytime I need to be able to see where I'm going. Now I wouldn't use this because it does not have, if you look at this, it's only in contact with the feed dogs on the sides, not in the front. I would not use this for any kind of construction because it just doesn't have, you want to use your regular foot for that because it's going to give you, it's going to touch all the feed dogs and give you, it'll feed nice and evenly for that way. But when I'm doing some kind of applique, I need to be able to see. And usually I feed into the feed, but for applique, I like to feed into the needle. And I also like to use the same stitch. So pick out your favorite stitch. I'm going to use a blanket stitch today. I have the needle set in the center position so I know where that needle is going to come down, and then it's going to swing to the right. And I'm just going to show you real quick. And I'm sewing on a crescendo today. And you can see that this way I can keep it right where I want it to be. And I'm aiming at that needle, and I'm running right along the side of the fabric. And because I can see nice and clearly, I'm going to be able to go right along that edge without any problem. So that is my, cut that thread. So that is our open-toed feet, and I can get a beautiful stitch along the side of that, as well as the candle wicking foot. If you want to use the heavier threads or the heavier stitches, go ahead and use your candle wicking foot. And I love these just so I can have a lot of visibility and see what I'm doing. So till next time, happy sewing.